Welcome to the day after talking duck football. I am the War Duck, and so this is probably the only Friday video that we'll do, but I just had to get out there because tomorrow is a whole new game, and that's what we'll be talking about then. But today is still this whole thing with Deon Sanders. So Skip Bayless opened his mouth and he said that he's not the only one, but there was a bunch of people that said, oh, Dan Lanning's a racist because his pregame speech, talking about Deon Sanders, taking shots at Deon Sanders. And for one, it was a pregame speech. And for two, Deon Sanders didn't even call this a race issue. And three, if you can only see race in this issue, not only are you the one that's a fucking racist, but you're also a bigot and a hypocrite, and that just makes you a fucking moron. But let's move past that, and let's talk about Deon Sanders. Because out of all things, Deon Sanders is great for college football. The more eyes on college football, the better it is. The more attention to college football, the better it is. And the Oregon and Colorado game was like the highest watched game in college football in quite a while. It was like 10 million views or something crazy. Anyway, moving on past that is he is really good for football. But here's the next aspect of this is Deon Sanders never wins a championship at Colorado. That may ruffle some of your feathers, but that's the truth. And here's why. Oregon's been building Oregon for 20 years. And they finally in a position to start getting closer to getting into the playoffs and getting closer to having a chance to win the championship. And you saw the gap on last Saturday's game between Oregon and Colorado. That gap is a mile wide, and every single position, Oregon outplayed Colorado in every single position, every single one. So that's the gap, right? Now you have those blue bloods like Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, right? Those all people that have had and been at the pinnacle for years and years and years. Oregon has been building this program for 20 years, and they are closing that gap. But you saw last year what happened when Oregon got to Georgia, right? That gap was still pretty big. And now you've seen the gap between Oregon and Colorado. So if the gap between Oregon and Georgia was that big, and now you see the gap between Oregon and Colorado, the gap between Georgia and Colorado is twice as big, right? It's miles and miles and miles apart. And that's the real difference. And here's the other aspect of why I say Deon never wins a championship at Colorado. It's because he's not going to be there for years and years and years, right? He's not going to be at Colorado for 10, 15, 20 years. He's just not. They're paying him too much money. And if he doesn't start winning in the next 3 to 4 to 5 years to get competitive, then they're not going to keep paying him that money. They just aren't, right? Because the attention's going to start to fall away at some point. At some point, Deon's just Deon. And that's just what that's going to be. Now, here's the other aspect of this, and why I say he's not going to be there and why he'll never win is because you have to bring in people and build consistency in your program, right? And you have to invest in those kids to bring them up and make them adults. Otherwise, parents aren't going to let their kids go to that school, right? And here I'm going to show you is classic Deon Sanders.
It's got to be because I got people who want to be my friend. People I never knew. People I never thought about associating with. I don't know what it is. Talk to me. Check it out.
People wanting to be my friend. I don't know what it is. People I don't even know, right? That's Deon's own song, right? It's all about Deon, the Flash, and the money. That's Deon Sanders in a nutshell. And I have the proof and the facts, right? Because let's look at this. Is you have Colorado players, including Shiloh Sanders, disrespect Oregon coaches, players, and stadium. And Oregon took note, okay? This is Deon's own son. So if Deon's own son is going to act like this, then what do you think's going to happen when you send your kid to this school and he doesn't have Deon to look over him 24 hours a day, right? Because Deon's kids are flashing their watches at the Colorado State players, right? And they're making threats and stuff. And here, let me... Oh, here we go. I'll beat the F out of every one of y'all coaches. Why y'all so little? We fitting to run through y'all, right? Like, okay. But these are the kind of things that his own son are saying. And you could say, oh, okay, I don't believe it or whatever. I said, okay, fine. Then let's just watch it, right? Let's just watch it. This is the great video that Oregon put out. And here's the receipts, as Deon would say.
Sometimes, like in movies, the stars align.
Make no mistake about it, this is Cinderella.
Oh, also, this is why Oregon will succeed and Deon won't. Because Deon is all about him and his individual players. And listen to Dan Lanning, because Dan Lanning is about Oregon football and Oregon as a whole. It's not about anybody else. It's not about making it personal. It's about Oregon playing Oregon. And this is from Dan Lanning's own mouth.
Cinderella story, right? And some people think the Cinderella story, right, always goes a certain way. This game is not about a Cinderella story, it's about ending one. Right? We always know it's Oregon versus Oregon, right? That hasn't changed.
Right? We all know this is Oregon versus Oregon. That hasn't changed.
I'm not about outside noise. Rooted in substance, man.
They're rooted in substance. Gritty, no nonsense, substance. And that's what Oregon is right now. They're made of the right things, and I think it's a mark of the new era at Oregon.
And God said, let there be Colorado at Oregon.
This is a major stage because of Colorado.
Every station and TV station is talking about Colorado.
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 Buffalo.
We're talking about Colorado.
The most amazing story
of the year
in sports history. It's not about...
And see, that's the Deon effect, is everybody is talking about Colorado. All eyes are on college football and Colorado. And that is great for the sport. That's really great for the sport. But
it's personal anymore. It's about they're coming to kick our ass.
Rooted in substance. Today, we talk with our past. When they talk, you don't say
when they talk, you don't say nothing. You talk with your pads. You talk with your helmet.
You don't say you talk with these. You talk with your helmet.
See, I'll beat the F out of every one of y'all, coach, right? That's Deon's own son. That's his own son. This is the way his own son acts. So how, if you send your kid, what man is he going to grow up to be? And this is what he's going to be. Why y'all so little? We fit in the road.
Everybody's tired of hearing about Colorado. No question. And that's going to show up on the football.
The Cinderella.
See, look at that idiot laughing. I bet he's not laughing now. Not after that score. Good God.
The story is over, man.
This ain't nothing.
Does that all mean something to you?
Look at this guy.
Does that all mean something to you? Yeah, I sure as hell means something to me.
Hey, I'd like to report a crime to the murder to these ducks.
Different culture. Power of unity. Different brotherhood. I ain't ever seen a redwood stand alone. A redwood strengthens its what? Roots. Right? And not in the individual roots. It's because they're what? They're connected. Right? Connected. Connection. In this room. Connection. 60 minutes or as long as it takes. Let's go.
60 minutes or as long as it takes. And see, that's the difference right there, right? Dan Lanning is all about the team, all about the group, all about the players as a group, playing as a group. Deon Sanders is all about himself and his image. And so that goes to his players, right? Those players are all about themselves and their image. They don't play for each other. They play for themselves. You can hear that in the way they talk. You can hear that in the way Deon's own son spits out threats and flash, right? It's all flash. It's not rooted in something. That's the difference between Oregon football right now and Colorado. That gap is big, real big. And that gap to the upper tier teams like Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, that's even bigger. And that's pretty much my take on it. You know, I mean, I don't have a lot to say. I don't really have anything against Deon Sanders other than the fact that you shouldn't open your mouth and write checks that you can't cash. So you better keep them receipts because you got a whole lot of refunds. Oregon gave you a whole bunch of reason to shut your mouth and just play the game. But see, right now, that's all they have. All they have right now is the image and the attention. And that's okay because that's great for football. But the thing is eventually that wears thin and that wears off. And then what do you have? Well, we're about to find out. What do they have? Because now they take on USC. And then I don't see that score turning out any different than what the Oregon score was. It's going to be the same way. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say, but this is my take on why Colorado never wins a championship with Deon Sanders. And I'm not saying Deon Sanders will never win a championship because I expect Deon Sanders to leave Colorado at some point and go somewhere bigger where he has a much better chance, where they've been building programs for a while. And so he may end up winning a championship, but it won't be at Colorado. It won't be in the Big 12. It'll be either in the Big 10 or it'll be in the SEC. So sorry, Colorado. That's just the simple truth. Is you just don't have that pedigree to get there and win. So with that, we're out of here. Much love all. Go Ducks. Hope to get that win tomorrow. Much love all.